Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another Grizz 901. I am your host, Daniel Greer. Nate will be joining me very, very shortly, but we got a great show for you tonight. Hopefully, we're going to be more like the first half of the Grizzlies game tonight and not like the second half because that was just straight up ugly. But we're going to get into all the breakdown of the game and discuss all of that. We have a great Grizz trivia for you. It's a lot about Jaren Jackson Jr., and so we're getting into all of that and much more. And then we have a look ahead from Ryan helping us out on that as we look ahead to the Pelicans. But if this is your first time here, thank you for joining us. We're here each and every weekday after the Grizzlies end. So as soon as the final buzzer sounds, we hit the live button and come straight to you. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Go ahead and drop the chat, hit the like if you don't mind. But if you're watching over on Twitter, come over here to Bluff City Media and join us over there. We'd love to have you here because there's a lot more of you over on YouTube chatting and commenting. But that's all I got. Let's go ahead and get to the show. Yo. All right, that was a little bit of a snoozer there in the second. So, what up, man?
Just glad to be here. A little bit of nightcap going.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly. And like the first half is like it was good, right? Like they played pretty well, and then like all of a sudden, like the second half gets there, just like my God, it's just nasty.
They cared about as much as we did in the second half. that was what happened there. That is, hey, we can mentally hit the showers and we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Which you'd love to not see the starters have to play in that fourth quarter, but like that's okay. It's quite all right. As a game they took care of in the first half.
No doubt. Well, it was a good win, as King Meek says, but as Rage Tempo, Luke can dunk. Lord, like right. I don't know what's going on. I didn't realize white boy Luke could get up like that, but it looked easy for him in all honesty, and so I'm curious how it is. But thoughts on the game just overall?
Just sort of a business-like win, even though the second half was gross, just because they pretty well put it away in the first half and the first half of the third. So. They did good. They did really good tonight. I thought they played really well in the first half, took care of business so that they could coast in the second half. I underestimated how cheeks that Charlotte Hornets team is. I was messaging for the chat family. First off, if you guys aren't asleep and you stayed up to be here, thank you for that. But I was messaging with Daniel and Ryan earlier, and I was like, I kind of like I think that the Hornets have some athletes, which I think could give the Grizzlies maybe a little bit of a fight tonight. Halfway through the game, I was like, I really underestimated how bad the Charlotte team was.
My God,
it was rough, man. They've got good players, but they clearly have not put it together.
No, they definitely have not put it together.
Yeah,
but like LaMelo Ball looked good, right? But Jalen Wells just took him out. Like that consistently keeps happening. Is the fact that Jalen Wells just takes dudes out of rhythm. And at that point, like you kind of got to love the fact that he's taking these guys out of rhythm and getting their head and making them look as bad as they're looking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for the majority of the game, he was outscoring LaMelo Ball.
Right.
I mean, he did a great job on him. I thought he had a lot of ticky-tack calls, fouls called on him as well. So another really good defensive night. You know, he's offensively, he's not as consistent as you probably want him to be, like we were saying, for the bigger games down the stretch at the end of the year. But if you show up and play consistent defense the way he has, man, you've got a spot in the NBA as long as you can hit some shots, right? He clearly can. So it continues to look awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know, overall they look good. Just let's hit on the Hornets real quick. You know, Miles Bridges, dude, 2 of 8 from deep. Just I know we've talked about him in the past. His off-court issues. Let's separate the two. We're going to talk about just a basketball player because I'm not going to get into the off-court issues. Okay, as a basketball player, he's allowed to play. Let's just talk about that. He looked just disinterested and overall, he does not look like a guy that wanted to be there. And I guess if you get thumped in the head by 30 in the first, you kind of go a little away from there. And so I get it. But Mark Williams, man, 33 minutes, close to 33 minutes, 14 of 18 overall. He had looks like he had 9 rebounds, which is crazy that he didn't get 10 rebounds, but just a great night out of him just from the tip, man. Like the dude coming out and dropping 38 points is incredible.
Yeah, man, he looked awesome. Look awesome. It's like Wayno saying in the chat, it's easy to let Nick Richards go. We did it at the same time. High five, buddy. Easy to let Nick Richards go if you have all that going. I mean, he looks awesome. And he looked like what he was destined to be coming out of college as well. Looked fantastic. Great to see him do that, because obviously he's had a bit of a rough start to his career. So happy for him to see him playing as well as he have, kind of pretty consistently.
Yeah.
Would love if he was Memphis Grizzlies center.
I got a question. Do you think that a guy like Mark Williams would start ahead of Zach Edey? I got a question.
I do.
Do you think that there's any chance that the Charlotte Hornets would part ways with a guy like Mark Williams for 2 first and Conchar? No. Like the 2 first mean nothing.
2 Grizzlies first don't mean nearly as much to you as Mark Williams does.
Yeah.
No. The answer is no.
Okay.
You have to start somewhere with young talent to build around, and right now it looks like Ball, Williams, Miller are your 3. Like Bridges, obviously, like you're saying, are like rough night tonight, but unbelievably talented player, and so it's just it's so hard to keep that just a basketball conversation, but you just never know what's going to happen there. But the 3 they have are Miller, Williams, Ball. Like that is who they have to work around. So that you get your picks to build around those guys.
Oh man. Wayno's like, hey, are you fishing to see if you can get somebody to bite on that little Edey slander a little bit? No, I'm not. I'm asking the question, if you would, because all in all, patience is a virtue, and I get it. And I'm looking for exactly who said it, but somebody said it. Have a little patience. Here it is. Art says patience with Edey because Williams did look terrible early on. I agree. He looked a little lost, I guess, and he looked a little behind. And so it's coming along for sure. He still doesn't look that big out there. Like I know he is, but he doesn't look as big. And maybe it's because Jaren is pretty big and Edey is a monster. So maybe that's what it is. But overall, I think I was very impressed with Mark Williams. And I am a Dookie. I've seen him in Duke, and he played well there. I think he finally translated. I think he's starting to kind of catch stride now there. But overall, that's enough. There's nobody else I want to talk about. Unless you want to talk about Taj Gibson.
No. But I don't like it's pretty funny coming in here because we are not Edey haters. No. What an opportunity it would be to be the Edey hater podcast. So like, hey, like everybody come listen to the post-game show that hates Zach Edey, even though we don't hate Zach Edey at all. 100% agree. Like there's nothing wrong being patient with Edey. It always come back to the same thing, right? Like Mark Williams looks awesome on a team that's 11-29, right? Like Edey's not out there for a team that's 11-29. It's for a team trying to win a championship. And I thought Edey actually in the first half looked better. Yeah, I thought he looked better.
I think he had 7 and 6 in the first half.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought he had really good positioning. He caught the ball, which sounds like I'm taking a dig, but I'm really not. Like part of his issue is being quick enough to catch the ball on this fast-paced game. Thought he did a better job. And then in the second half, it just, it kind of caught up to him, right? They kind of figured out how to attack him. Mark Williams figured out how to attack everybody, not just him, but figured out how to pick on him a little bit. So the development's there. He's developed really, really fast, but it's the same thing, man. All the same things happen in this game that have been happening, which is the game's just a little too fast for him. Yep. He's just not there yet, and still, he can't be your starting center. Maybe Jaren's your starting center, but when it's going to matter, you got to have something else going.
Well, into the playoffs, you can go a little smaller. Like the main thing is the regular season. Jaren needs to have somebody next to him. One, he doesn't need to take the pounding that maybe a bigger guy kind of might give to him a little bit, but also cheap fouls, let him kind of play the roamer role. And so the regular season, 100%, he needs a big next to him. In the playoffs, if you go against somebody smaller, there's no reason to put Edie out there. You can, at that point, you can probably run BC next to him and go a little smaller. And if for some reason you feel like it might be a Santi series, you could go Santi next to Jaren, depending on what the matchup is. At that point, it's matchup based. And so I don't worry too much about it. But even though, like, if you need a big to rely on the playoffs, I don't know if Edie's there yet. We'll figure that out. I think we still have half the season to go, and so we're not even to the All-Star break at this point. So either way, I think we should still get a future center, in my opinion, a future starting center.
Or you call the Jazz and call New York.
Oh my God, your Mitchell Robinson love is disgusting.
Yeah, because he's, I don't know, awesome at
basketball. Probably not even wearing pants right now.
Why would he be? He's a millionaire who's chilling at home. I wouldn't be wearing pants either. It's also like 10:30 in New York. So yeah, man.
I got a question. Art's got a question actually. Would you guys like Brook Lopez?
I mean, he's certainly a viable option, but I don't know. I'm assuming contract situation makes that a no. You know, contract's way better than me. I don't know what he's on.
I have not looked at his contract, but I think he's fine unless he's $5 million. I don't want him personally.
Right.
Like, I don't think he brings enough to the actual, team just overall to move one way or the other. Yeah. Astronoma says 23 million. No, there's no way.
No way. God. Yeah. No way. Man, all that to say, there's way better options out there. Yeah. Way better options out there. Like I'd rather kind of go, you don't have to go like, when I say big game hunting, not big fish hunting, because you don't hunt fish. Stupid Nate. When you go big game hunting, I'm not talking about go get an all-star center or something like that, but go for like a center that really, really works, like Robert Williams. As much as people have pissed all over me for saying he's a viable option, somebody was in talks to go get him today. Was it who was it? I don't know. It's a good team. But Robert Williams, Mitchell Robinson, go ahead and like John Collins is not a center, but he makes it really, really viable for Jaren to play at the 5 for you. Like the same way Brandon does, but he's able to space the floor as well. Right. So John Collins is an option. Like go get something that really, really fits. Right. So I think there's a lot of options out there, but and to be really clear, I see a lot of people really giving up on Edie. I'm not just here, right? Like not just in our chat and on Grizz X, on all over the place. And like, it's just so early. It's way too early to do that, man. He clearly has the basic tools to figure it out, but you'll get a Rob Williams. I'm telling you, Mitchell Robinson, I don't understand why people are just out on Mitchell Robinson. Like he's every time he plays basketball, he's awesome and he's a winning player. But and he fits with John Morant.
But
he's
always hurt.
Yeah, except for when he's not and he's playing basketball. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like you have to go get somebody. All you need him for is a playoff run. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm all in. I go win a championship.
Obviously, that's what we're trying to do, Nate. But one thing I want to hit on from Austin says we can't get Gafford anymore. 100%. That ship has sailed. But if you've seen the last 2 nights where he's been the starting center for them, both double-doubles, played really well. His double-double line was at plus 145. If you're interested, I hit it. It looks really good. But he has been a good player. And because Lively's now out, I believe it's a broken foot, out 2 to 3 months. That definitely not going to give up Gafford at this point. If they have a chance, because they're eventually going to get Luka back. And so at that point, as long as they can sustain enough and get enough wins along the way, they'll be fine and have both those guys back for a playoff run.
I mean, feasibly, but I mean, there's a chance this goes really south really fast for the Mavs. They're not probably halfway there, but they're not Grizz last season level of injured. But they are really, really in trouble right now. They're in pretty dire straits. There's a chance that if there's any issues with Luka, any setbacks whatsoever, however long this takes Lively on the long end to get back. I mean, Clay's hurt. Kyrie's likely to have to miss some games again. This could go south fast, and they might end up being sellers. So,
and I hope so. And I would be thrilled if that happens.
Not
but
much time for them to be sellers.
There's literally 2 weeks, so you're going to play it.
Could go really bad.
But 8 games at max, like that they would play from now until then, like at max.
Yeah.
Like 8, you're going to win probably 2.
It's unlikely, but if you get any worse news on injuries, who knows what direction you decide to go, you know? Probably not. It's unlikely, but trust me, it could happen.
Yeah. Cameron Season here, at Hornets fan coming in, very, very friendly. So we appreciate it. Congrats, Memphis. Good game. More than the Hornets. But honestly, like the Grizzlies have a really good team, especially at home. And they showed it in the first half, played with their food. And honestly, like, dude, Mark Williams played. It was very dominant, in the second half, but also finally LaMelo got going. But the fouls is what really was the biggest thing. And honestly, Charlotte is not good at drawing fouls. Like on the season as a whole, they've not been a team that can draw a lot of fouls. And so that's really Memphis just not being, I don't know, just not good enough and focused enough to kind of not put your hand in the cookie jar so much. And so it kind of lets them back in there. But overall, I like the Hornets team, but my God, they are like 3 or 4 decent players, like 2 or 3 really good players, 3 or 4 decent players, and then like everything else is just meh. And so I hate it for them. But LaMelo is incredible if you don't have a guy like Jalen Wells on you, which he's been like a gnat. So it's been crazy. He's been good. But
they can figure it out. They've got the pieces. It's never guaranteed, but Cameron, stay strong. You're in the dark ages, which I know as a Hornets fan, it's been plenty of dark ages, but you've at least got some light at the end of the tunnel.
That man ain't seen the light.
Yeah, as soon as I said, I was like, there's a lot of dark ages in Hornets history. But hey, light at the end of the tunnel, some good plays. But hey, let's on the Grizzlies. Listen, we've talked about stuff needs to work on. I think our minds after the Rockets game, I know mine specifically, went to like always like, what do we need? What are we missing? Because we're right at that time of year. Let's take a second and talk about the good, because the first half was as ugly as the second half was. Really good basketball. From Memphis. So
for sure.
Is there anyone in the league that it's easier to tell when they're locked in versus not locked in than John Morant?
Yeah, when he has that fire in his eyes, we'll say. But no, when he actually looks like he cares. Like Ja, when he wants to be good, he can be. But what happens so many times to him is he lets his own self get in the way. But also, if he doesn't get to really what he wants, I feel like he doesn't adjust enough. He is an incredible passer. He's incredible at everything and anything he does. And even on the Out the Mud podcast, Derrick Rose even said that Ja is an incredible passer. And the rest of his game, it actually kind of revolves around that. Like it's just an add-on. Like his passing ability is really what he is. The problem is you kind of need to be selfish sometimes. So he is very much in the middle of trying to figure that out. And so he has to learn like, hey, some nights I can score and I need to score. Some nights I need to be a facilitator. Once he figures that out, and I know he's going to figure that out as he matures, but in all honesty, like he's being coached incredibly. Like, my God, like he has the best coach in the league. And so he's going to get his head on straight for sure.
Anyways, Ja had 16 and 13 tonight. He could have gone for 32 and 26. Like he could have it if he wanted to. I mean, he was the first half. John Morant was like, let's get in here. Let's take care of business. Let's show who we are. The second half, John Morant was like, let's just make it to the end of this game. Get to the showers, which can be super frustrating for Grizz fans. Yeah. Right? It can be super frustrating to watch. So you're like, dude, we want to see you be awesome all the time. I'm actually encouraged by that because it shows one, what we've talked about all season long, which he's trying to be healthy for the playoffs. Like, this dude wants to be healthy for the long run. He is making sure that he tries to put himself in that spot. But half the time, he's just like coasting, trying to get the wins to stay in the top half, get some home court advantage in the playoffs. Yeah. That's all he wants, pretty clearly. But then when he wants to turn it on, you see what happens. Just a completely different player.
Yeah.
Right? Entirely different player. So I think you're going to see that a lot during the regular season. It's going to be hit or miss, frustrating, super fun to watch, back and forth. But I think once you get towards winning time, playoffs, bigger games, you're going to see Ja like really like turn into consistently the Ja that I think Grizzlies fans are super used to. And yes, Lauren, yeah, 1,000%. It was awesome. It's just freaky. Dude's just freaky.
That block where literally like he's expecting, like, so it looked like he got up expecting like, hey, I don't think you're gonna shoot this, or like something else gonna happen, and then like he's just like, all right, like literally blocked it like at his armpit. Like he could have kept going up and got the ball if he'd have thrown it up higher. So man, his hops are incredible. His fast twitch, just jump is just it's awesome. So but when he wants to be the best player on the court, he can be, and he's showing that now defensively, which makes me more excited about all that, because when you look at Ja and what his deficiencies over the years, it's been his shooting and his defense. Well, his shooting, I don't think it's been bad. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but tonight 2 of 5 from deep. That's a good night. That's fine. I'll live with that every night. But his defense is really turned up, and it looks like the care level is there when he wants it to be. So it's been nice.
Yeah, man. And it shows on both ends of the court. I just saw, I think it was Drew. Yeah, Drew's in here. His awareness on defense is when he wants to give the effort on defense, when he's locked in. Yeah. Unbelievable. And he does care about that. And you can tell he cares about that and is trying to prove a point. But that's one thing that I think makes it really hard for, I know you're seeing a lot of people in here talking about the Ja connection. Ja just processing the game on a completely different level than like 99% of the NBA. Like, he sees things happening 3 moves before they happen. He is playing chess while the rest of the court's playing checkers. Yep. And we have a guy like Edey that has not played basketball for super long, right? Just like didn't start playing until really late in his life. As I know he's super young, but still like late in life for a basketball career to start. It's a lot going on, not to mention he's a rookie, all the same. So a lot of stuff that's hard to process there, but you saw it happen with Luke tonight. It happens with Brandon, who has been processing the game on a super high level as well. It's been encouraging to see. But dude, his mind for the game's unbelievable. Just unbelievable mind for the game. It's so fun to watch him and see the way he thinks the game.
What is it?
Balvenie 14 Caribbean cask.
Probably $5. Let's talk about another guy who passed the ball tonight pretty well. 24 points overall, and 8 assists for Desmond Bane. Had the highest plus minus. Not that really even matters at all. But tonight just really played. Honestly, just really good. When I feel like you had to have somebody go get a bucket, it seemed like it was Bane tonight, especially there in the third quarter where he played, really good. Even when Ja was on the court a couple of times, he kept the ball, go to the bucket, get a little push shot in there. And so overall, I do think that Bane is starting to find himself, and we're seeing now that there is a big three. We've been talking for sure that there's always been like, the 2 now, because Jaren stepped up. Jaren is the 1B, or the, in a sense, like there's two heads of the snakes. But now we have the third guy who's starting to show up even more, and he continues to each and every night. It's very quiet most nights, but 8 assists from Bane on the backs of 24 points is awesome.
Yeah, and we said it last game, he's just looking more and more like himself. He's getting to that midi again. I mean, it just looks really, really good. It's good to see, man. I mean, you want to see him be able to get to that version of himself, especially because, like you said, like Ja's trying to save himself. Ja's a much more dynamic game, which means it's much more high risk of injury, just the way he plays the game. But it's good to be able to see Dez kind of take over when Ja's wanting to take a back seat.
Yeah.
Right. And listen, if you have those three cooking, which tonight they were, right? Like, Ja only took 9 shots. If he takes his normal 15 to 17, like, who knows how many points he's getting. But,
right.
It's fun to be able to see. I think we both would agree, like, this team needs pieces. This team is not quite where they need to be able to compete probably at the highest level that they need to. You have these 3 guys just show up night in, night out and dominate. And like, this is what you need to see. We haven't even talked about Jaren, who got to whatever he wanted to whenever he wanted to tonight, despite the fact they were trying to double him. Didn't do a very good job of it, but they were trying. You got really good pieces, and you're just a piece here, a piece there away from being there. So it's fun. It's a fun time.
All right, we'll talk about Jaren in 1 second. I do have a question, though. Let's talk politics real quick. I'm kidding. Do you think the offenses look more democratic and less communist tonight?
No more communist offense. I love that they call it the communist offense. It's hilarious. Yeah, I thought so while the starters were in. I think when the bench was in, it kind of got back to that a lot more. But you didn't see as much of all those guys off the court at the same time either tonight, which is something I noticed. It's against the Hornets. So I was kind of like, okay, why now? Why against this team are we playing these guys so much? But I thought Taylor did tighten up the rotations a little bit tonight. He ended up playing 12, but Huff played 7 minutes, 13 points in 7 minutes, by the way. So shout out J Huff. Yeah. But they seem to have one of Dez or Ja or Jaren on the court at almost all times tonight for the most part.
It's every night, though.
No.
It is.
No.
It is.
No, Daniel. We all see those moments in the game when he tries to sneak in those lineups.
There's always one of the big 3 on the court at all times.
That's just not true, Daniel.
Then go back and find it when it's not.
Okay, I promise you. I could go back to the last game. I need somebody else that has the care to do that for me.
But just telling you, they keep them on the court they keep one of them on the court at all times.
Except for when they don't. Except for when they have. What was the lineup against Houston? It was like Pippen, Kennard, Laravia, Huff, and Brandon or something. Or Santi. That happened.
I don't remember when it was, but
anyways, not the point. That's not what we're trying to get to tonight. The whole point is when the starters are out there, it was a lot more pick and roll. We're putting the ball in our best players' hands and letting them go do something. 100%.
So I think tonight was we're killing them. Do what you want. I honestly, I just don't I think that you can say, hey, yes, it was more of a democratic offense where everybody kind of ran to their thing and everybody was able to play. But in all honesty, like literally, I just think that they were just kicking them in the teeth so bad. Then what were you going to do? You couldn't do anything wrong in that first half. In the second half, I think they had to go back to what they were normally doing and how they play, just because they had to get back to the rhythm because they were out of rhythm so bad. But you're seeing so much of the one-on-one, kind of type offense still. And so I don't think much changed except for the fact that they were just running and gunning so much against a team that allows you to run. And so I think that was in transition a little bit more the fast pace, which you don't end up setting up in. It's more the quick plays, a 1-2, step in a sense. So yeah, I don't think much has changed. I just think they were going up and down so quick. But a lot of people were asking into the third, Pip, Kennard, GG, Huff, Aldama. Was that this game?
Yes. It happened tonight, Rick. That was tonight, Rick.
I'll go back and look at it. I don't believe you. Either way, it doesn't matter. When the best coach in the league decides to do it, you just kind of understand that it's probably the right thing to do. But Santi tonight left the game with an illness. I'm not exactly sure what the illness was. But I think that he's maybe he's fighting something. Drew said it could be the trade flu, but he's definitely fighting some kind of illness, something. But who knows? Whatever. I don't care about what's happening behind the scenes. I don't care if somebody has the sniffles. I don't care if he has bubble guts. My thing is He left the game with an illness, whatever. And maybe honestly, that's why he's been playing bad. So I don't want to go into that too much, but we are very close to the trade deadline. We're getting closer. We're closer to the also the All-Star game, which is something that's coming up very shortly. And so let's reroute real quick. Let me give you a little bit of a breakdown of what we have coming up, because me and Nate actually talked about it today. So the 24th, which is the next game, we're actually going to select who we think, because that should be the All-Star reserves, because the All-Star starters will be announced tomorrow. I believe it's on TNT. Everybody understands and knows who the starters are because they're already being voted on by the fans. They'll be announced tomorrow. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to do our who we think should actually make the All-Star game. So you can come and hang out with us Friday night and do the same thing with us. So we'll break down the game against the Pelicans, talk through it all, and then we'll get through and we'll kind of just discuss who we think the reserves will be for the East and the West. Art wants to know if there's trivia tonight. Yes, it's actually, I think, my best trivia I've ever done. You'll be impressed, Nate. I can see it in your eyes. And then the Monday, the 27th, we're going to kind of revise our list, see if there's any changes that we made. The 30th, we're going to break down selections, because there will be the selections of the reserves that night on the 30th. And so we'll break down the selections and kind of see if we have any snubs that we've seen. Santi will probably get voted into the All-Star game. And then the 3rd of February, me, Nate, and Ryan, the second half of the show, we're going to all, from the 24 guys that were selected, we're going to go and just select our teams and see if we can do better than Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq, who's actually picking the teams live on TNT. So we're going to do something very similar. And so that's kind of what we have coming up. And so just wanted to kind of give a heads up on what we have on the schedule. So it will be very much revolving around after we break down the games as we normally do. We'll probably have a Grizz Trivia or something in that middle segment. A little bit of a quick look ahead, but we're going to discuss a little bit of the reserves, starters, and all that kind of good stuff. So just give everybody a heads up. Next 2 weeks, we'll be kind of intermingling that within the show. But Nate, do you have anything else about this game before we get on to Grizz Trivia and then the look ahead?
Took care of business.
I like it. All right, let's move it on. We'll go to Grizz Trivia. All right, for Grizz Trivia, it's all about Jaren Jackson Jr. So playing incredible this season. Jaren is headed toward the All-Star game, in my opinion. I think we're right on the cusp of him being kind of broken down and being a reserve, as we discussed. On the 30th, there will be an announcement on that. But coming up this Thursday, which is tomorrow, they're going to announce the starter. So we're getting the ball rolling on that, but also Jaren getting the recognition he deserves. But because of that, let's go to the question. The minimum of 30 games played. Jaren Jackson Jr. ranks 10th in the NBA in estimated plus minus, which is EPM, and is one of 4 NBA players to rank in the 92nd percentile or higher in both offensive EPM and defensive EPM. Who are the other 3 players? So that's very long-winded, but estimated plus minus, which means that on the offensive end and the defensive end, who are the best players? And these are actual numbers. And so these are not like, hey, per 100 possessions. These are actual numbers. So anybody who's been playing the game knows that these guys on the offensive, what you're rating, your plus minus rating on the offensive end, what your plus minus rating on the defensive end. And so, which means it's the best players in the game. So very confusing, very long-winded, but you know what? We only got 3 to figure out. So Nate, we already got these coming in. It is for this season right now.
Okay.
Your thoughts, Nate? You have anybody off the top?
First thought's Wemby.
Okay. I wish I had like a ding.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's a ding.
I can do my three blind mice thing again.
Drew said, I didn't know this was a math show. Yes, I know. I went to the depths to get this one.
I'm just proud of you for spelling all the words correctly, to be honest. So I got Wemby as 1. Has AD played enough games?
I don't know that for sure.
I'm guessing he's not one of the 4 because
he's not one of the 4. No.
Okay.
But I want to go back and look and see the actual numbers on it.
Okay. Is he on the list at all and just not top 4?
Anthony Davis is he's down a scroll or 2.
Oh, that's surprising.
I'm sorry. 15th.
15th?
Yep.
That's pretty surprising. Giannis?
Giannis is not.
So sad for me. Oh, Mobley.
Nope, Evan Mobley is not.
That's surprising. I thought for sure it'd be a Cavs guy. That's super surprising. So 92nd percent.
Let me see if I can find Mobley on here. Mobley, so he doesn't rank in the offensive. He's 90th percentile in the offensive.
Got it. I guess that kind of makes sense.
And hey, in AD, he's 91st percentile. So if that makes sense at all, like these guys, like Jaren is doing things that other guys are not doing. It's incredible.
It's because he's freaky. Porzingis?
Nope.
I feel like he hadn't played enough games either.
I don't think so.
Plus, I mean, if I just put American currency on Porzingis, then Celtics will never win another championship. He just decides to get hurt every time I bet on him. Hartenstein?
No.
Okay. That was sort of a long shot, but I know that when I put American currency on him, things go well. So, are these guards?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I would not have thought guards.
Let me throw it back up there real quick so people can see what the question is in case they're interested.
Jalen Williams?
Nope.
Trying to think of the best teams.
You're on the right path, though, for sure.
SGA?
SGA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the top ranked.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty surprising.
Yep. So you're missing one that incredible player. I just don't think you're getting it. A lot of people are asking about. Let's go through some of these because nobody has. I don't think anybody's got it yet. So,
okay.
Edwards is not on there. Peyton Pritchard is not on there. Cade is not on there. Giannis not on there. T.J. McConnell, LeBron, no. Jokic,
McConnell.
T.J. McConnell's funny. Jokic is 79th percentile and plus minus on the defensive end. So
the defense would screw him.
Dort is not. Zubac is not.
Ooh.
King Meeks got it right. Tiffany Taylor did not. Jaylen Brown. Drew Holiday. So yeah, we've had one person get it right.
LeBron.
Not Donovan Mitchell, and it's not LeBron.
Okay.
Look at you, King Meeks.
Durant.
Nas Reed. Nope. Huh?
Durant.
Nope. This guy is not a guard.
This guy is not a guard.
Not a guard.
So you've forgotten how many of them? We've gotten 3, 2.
Need one more. Yep.
One more. Not a guard. Not a guard.
So you've got an SGA who's a guard, ranks the highest overall. He's 99th percentile in offensive, and then 97th percentile in defensive.
Jaren.
And this guy ranks that you're talking about ranks one above Jaren.
I'm not Googling it. I'm just looking at teams.
Sure, you're not.
Just looking at teams.
He's in the West.
Oh, okay.
Lauren's asking West or East.
That was going to be wrong. Is this somebody that you would not put as like one of the great players, or this is a pretty great player?
I think this is a great player. I just don't think he's lauded for his defensive ability. And I think he's playing good defensively this year. King Meeks is taking a victory lap over here, calling him Meeks Trivia.
I'm not looking. I'm not going to look.
Art, Art, you're right on the right path for sure. And it's not DeAndre Ayton.
The bonus?
It is Domantas Sabonis, which is incredible. So
that's super surprising.
So out of the minimum 30 games played, Jaren Jackson Jr. ranks 10th in the NBA in estimated plus minus. He is one of these 4 players. And honestly, he's 9th on the list, behind SGA, Domantas Sabonis, and Victor Wembanyama. So, Nate, why don't we look at the list? Look at this stuff. This looks good. So, SGA ranks first, and you can see the difference. Like Luka is up there, and you can see that Luka's. The problem is he's only played 22 of 43 games, and same with Franz Wagner, who is out for a lot. But I just left everybody up there, no matter the amount of games played, so you can see the highest ranking guys on this list. So if you look at it, the defense of Jaren is obviously third best, right behind Wemby. And the SGA, who's playing really great defense this year. The offensive side, Jaren does lack, but because he is on the very high tippy top, he's still up there above all these other guys. And so, I thought it was a good list for people to see. But is there something that sticks out to you, Nate, on this list? Because there's something that sticks out to me. It's incredible. But is anybody else seeing what I see?
I'm looking at SGA being ahead of Jaren in defensive EPM. Feels like the stat must be imperfect. That's what I'm looking at. I'm sorry.
Lauren,
but I see what you see.
Lauren got it.
I see what you see.
Yep, it's Lauren. Yeah, Lauren and LOL. Nope. Jones got it. It's the minutes. Look at that minutes. Like the minutes 29. Everybody else is in the 30s. But it's incredible. The usage rate and 28 out of the 29 minutes, the usage rate's incredible. And so he's out there and being used, and Sabonis not being used with 21% for the usage number there in his 36 minutes per game. And so the ball doesn't go through him. So if anybody's ever wondering about this list and what, usage rates like that, it just means that he's doing things off ball. He doesn't have the ball in his hands and stuff like that. And so a lot of his, stuff is rebounding. It is blocks. It's steals for a guy like Sabonis. But Jaren's got the ball in his hands a lot on this team, more than he's had. Santi, yeah, I can't find Santi.
Check back next game.
Yeah, I bet it is. Bounce
back. It's coming.
I thought that was interesting. I saw the EPM. And I saw it come through, and I was like, you know what? Let me go check it out and see what I can find. And that kind of got stuck out to me. So thought it was interesting.
Yeah, don't put that out into the Grizzliverse, whatever you want to call it. We got
the Grizzliverse.
The Grizzliverse. Yeah, yeah, because that's going to lead to fun conversations.
I'm curious. How far Ja's down on this list? I looked for him earlier, and he wasn't far on one of them. On the expected, so out of the 100 possessions, whatever, on the expected, Ja was up there, but on the other, he was not. And so I have not. Desmond Bane's higher than Ja on the actual estimated plus minus. I'm sorry, he's 2 spots underneath Desmond Bane, Ja. So there you go. We found Ja.
Makes sense given the year.
Yep. All right. So enough about that. I hope everybody enjoyed it. That was a little bit more of a deep dive on the Grizz Trivia, but I had a little bit more time today. I have been off doing still my normal job, but I've been off on my betting show And so I've had a few extra minutes throughout the day to actually have to spend time. And so I was able to do some critical thinking today. So anyway, enough about that. We're going to look ahead to the I almost call them the New Orleans Pelicans. They're down there snowed in, but I believe they will be unsnowed in by Friday and able to come back here. So they did not play. The game got postponed against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. And so they'll actually be returning. I would assume tomorrow they'll be able to get out of there and come to Memphis. But as Ryan always does, he gives us a little bit of help on the look ahead.
Let's look ahead to Friday night's home matchup for the Memphis Grizzlies against the New Orleans Pelicans. We know the New Orleans Pelicans have had an injury-riddled season. We're very familiar with that idea. Now they have started to get some guys back health-wise, and they are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They have won 4 games in a row. So we don't know who is going to be playing this game. It has been up and down for the Pelicans. Their injury report has anywhere from 5 to 6 names on it every other day. We know for sure that Brandon Ingram is not going to be playing. We don't know about Zion. We don't know about CJ McCollum. DeJounte Murray is a wild card. Trey Murphy has missed a couple games recently. So speaking of Trey Murphy, he's kind of the guy that I want to talk about a little bit to kind of give props to. He has really stepped up for the Pelicans this year, averaging about 21 points per game, about 7 or 8 points higher than his career average. The last 5 games for Trey Murphy is averaging 25.8 points per game. So he has really kind of been their most durable of Pelicans players, and he's only played about 30 games, I believe, for them this year. But he has kind of been the lone bright developmental spot for them. We have played the Pelicans twice already this year and won both matchups. If you remember both of those games, Grizzlies used really strong first half performances to build a double-digit lead, and they just kind of held on to that lead going through to the second half. So let's see, depending on who's playing for this Pelicans team, which we won't know until Friday most likely, see if the Grizzlies start out strong against the Pelicans to build a little bit of a lead cushion and just hold on the second half for a cruising Friday night victory.
I don't know if you heard that, Nate. Nate got kicked out of our platform while that was going on. But Nate, did you hear Ryan, the very last thing that he said?
No, I heard him saying all those Zaire Williams Trey Murphy stats.
No, he's talking about it should be a cruising win on Friday night or whatever he said. You know, he's always throwing in that last thing about we're going to blow somebody out, and it never happens. Ryan must be more optimistic than we are because he's always talking about how the Grizzlies had the chance to just blow somebody's doors off. So we might have just kind of an easy night on Friday night.
In his defense, the past 3 times he said that, they kind of have blown people out. So he hasn't been wrong lately. Yeah. So I guess, hey, take the spread when Ryan says that.
Yep. So they do have some guys, Zion, DeJounte Murray, Yus Missy, Brandon Ingram, and Herb Jones. Herb Jones is out, but the rest of the guys are game time decisions. And so it does look like, okay, so they're saying Santi could come back. The only guy that's out, it looks like we have a number on Vince Williams of January the 27th. I don't know if that's news to anybody else, but there looks to be an estimated return date is January the 27th on Vince Williams right now.
That's news to me.
Yep.
That's good news to me.
Yep. And Cam Spencer's February the 8th. I don't know if that actually is anything important, but that's what they're actually online right now. It's showing the estimated return date from injury. So that would be awesome. That'd be cool with me.
As a reminder, these guys have missed a lot of basketball. We're seeing it with Gigi right now. It's hard to just come back and get right back to it. So,
yep.
Easy on the expectations. Let's just enjoy it, having these guys back.
Yep. And so I'm looking just overall at that game. Dude, they're so bad. They're 12-32. They've not been good. They are playing a little bit better, but in all honesty, they're going to have a little bit more days off, which will be good. I would assume that gets us Zion. Why would he not play? But if King Meeks takes him to Church's Chicken before the game, he might not play. So I don't know.
Or never mind.
Or to the Purple Church.
Never mind. Never mind.
But anyway, I'm curious how that game goes. I think that the Grizzlies are definitely heading the right direction. I think they're winning games. I don't want to say easily, but they're looking better playing, and they're being more consistent, which allows them to win a little bit better and easier and more consistently. And I think we're finally seeing this team catch their stride because now 29-15. Almost 15 games over 500. If they win this Friday night, they'll be already at 15 games above 500. I always say the perfect number is 12. You at least want to win 12 more than you lose. So they're already on pace to do that, which would make them a top 6 seed personally. And so I think that they're heading the right direction. And I think they take care of business Friday night.
Agreed. I hope that I don't yawn as much Friday night as I am after the game tonight. Listen, Grizz had a beautiful first half tonight, turned to a snooze fest. If that game is thrilling on Friday night, something probably went wrong. So yeah. I'm not super looking forward to it, but looking forward to it from any exciting standpoint. It's always fun to tune in and watch the Grizzlies play basketball, especially with the exciting team we have now, right? But I'm not exactly hoping for the extraordinary.
When is the trade deadline? Is it February the 6th?
I believe so.
Okay. So we're not far away. We're less than 2 weeks, right? Or we're 2 weeks away. We're 14 days.
Yeah, I think it's almost right on the dot, isn't it?
Yeah, we're roughly 2 weeks away. So it's Thursday in 2 weeks. February the 8th. That's not true. Drew, you're an idiot. February 6th. Nobody listen to Drew. Don't do it. February 8th is not right. That's not right.
I don't know. The fact that someone disagrees with you, my instinct is to go with whoever disagrees.
February the 6th, 2025, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, you bunch of jabronis. All right, so February the 6th, somebody work on their Google fingers. They're not very good, but so nobody listen to Drew. But I will say that we're coming up.
You're wrong.
We're coming up closer. There's going to be movement on. I think once we see movement on Jimmy Butler, which is now a 4-team trade that everybody's talking about because they're having to make moves. So what everybody's assuming, we're going to have Jimmy Butler go to the Suns, Bradley Beal go to Milwaukee, and then at that point you're going to see a lot of stuff moved around within picks, but also a lot of contracts they want to get off of that might be expiring or whatever. So I think we're going to see that. But also, if you're interested, Khalil Ware is going to get a lot of run coming up soon. So if anybody's interested in watching him, betting him, whatever you might be, I think he really could take off with the Rookie of the Year if he shows out crazy good the rest of the way. I don't know if you can take it away from the guys that have been producing all season, but I do think that he is playing really well right now, and that'd be a guy to watch.
It'd be a super cool way to make me sad. Real quick, is there anybody that any moves that you think are viable moves you would be disappointed if the Grizzlies don't make it happen? Getting pretty specific.
Yeah, there's if the Grizzlies don't make a move,
like, is there a specific move you're like, this is the one that I really want to see him make?
That's the same thing that Rusty asked me when I was on the Daily Grind. Go check out the Daily Grind every morning at 7:30 a.m. Luke does a good job. Luke does a good job hosting that show with the help of Drew and Rusty. They're on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. $2 Sports Show here at Bluff City Media. So go check it out. It's a live show. So those are the live shows. I'm telling you, you can get in the chat and chat away. But he asked me the same question. It was the only one I could think of was Edie. I'm not Edie, but the only one I could think of was Cam Johnson. So I was reading Edie in the chat. That's the only one I can think of that would actually make sense because his shooting stroke is so good and he plays good enough defensively. He has enough length. I think he fits this team perfectly. If you're giving up 2 firsts, I would give up 3 firsts for it, in all honesty. Like, I just think you'll be fine, and I'm not worried about draft picks over the next 3 years because you have Gigi and you have Vince. Scotty and Jay Huff are fine as your 10, 11, 12 guys. If it got that bad, I still think they're fine. So if you get anything else, they're only going to be moved down the bench even further. And so I have no issues with that. And so that'd be the only guy I think that you really had to go get just to make them. That's a needle mover for me.
John Collins for me.
Really?
Yeah. Because the concept, I think, of Cam Johnson is he's the better three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, John Collins is a career 38% three-point shooter. That's including the year he broke his finger and shot like 20-something%. He's never shot below, I think, 35, 36% outside of that in his career from deep. And he's shooting 40% from three this year. And I think he's a better defender, better lob threat, better all-around rebounder and everything than Cam Johnson, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I'd rather go the John Collins route. Plus, there's always the opportunity to get Colin Sexton, which for a month plus, I've been talking about how much I would love to have Colin Sexton here. So if you can get the 2 for whatever, yeah, it'd be a dream come true.
My thing is like if you get rid of a guy like Santi who could be hot for you into the playoffs or help you down through the regular season to keep your guys fresh. Getting rid of a guy like Luke Kennard that might help in a playoff series when you really need, some shooting or you need some spacing for whatever the matchup might be. Like losing a little bit of being a little bit more flexible, that does hurt. So whatever you get, they have to figure out a way to make they have to be able to be antiquated within this offense. They have to be able to get and be a seamless fit. And I think, the guys that we're discussing are great. And I think that John Collins is a better BC. People really like BC. I think he's a better BC, in my opinion. And I think Cam Johnson is a much better Marcus Smart on this team. And so at that point, if you can upgrade your positions, if you can upgrade your top 8, that's where you would come down to it. And then Gigi's only going to get better. Vince is only going to come back and get healthy. And so you're somehow increasing and growing that top 8. And if you can make your top 8 really, really good, you have a chance. So I like the question, but I think that's the only guys I'm thinking of. Austin's saying some vets. I was going to ask you about this because the rumors are that it would send Bobby Portis to Miami in the deal.
Bobby Portis.
And so I'm curious, how do you get into that? Because that would be amazing.
However you can.
Just do it.
Just do it. Go get Bobby.
Seconds.
I mean, I would be giddy if we got Bobby Portis just on principle. But if I'm being honest, I think you can get the veteran presence from someone like John Collins.
Really? I see. I'd rather have a Bobby Portis to be your big.
Sure. Like he gets
to be your starting center.
Maybe. That's a stretch.
What do you mean?
It's a stretch.
Brandon Clark starts for this team sometimes.
Yeah, but it's really they do that in a weird way, and you know this. It's kind of like, okay, he's going to be the center on offense, but then he's not going to be the center on defense. And I don't think you use Bobby Portis that way. I don't think because BC is such a dynamic, athletic, like that's what makes that work. Bobby Portis is not dynamic and athletic like BC, even post Achilles BC. It's just not the same. And I love Bobby Portis, but I don't think you want him to be your starting center.
Dude, his name is Crazy Eyes. I don't not trust the guy.
I love Crazy Eye Bobby Portis. Like, listen, I want crazy people. Like that is what I want. Dude, I said this all the time.
Imagine if you have Jalen Wells, Vince Williams, and Bobby Portis playing, surrounded by Jaren and Ja. And I'm sorry, Bang, we're leaving you out for a second. Dude, that would be the funniest lineup because you just have these crazy people surrounded by your Lamborghinis of offense and they can do whatever they want. And these other ones are like, fine, just let us guard. Let us play defense. You're just like, all right.
Well, yeah, Jalen Wells, if you've paid attention, that dude's got a little bit more crazy in him than I think we bargained
Very
for.
crazy. His dad's crazy.
Yeah, which is
in a good way.
Is awesome. But like, I'm looking for like, I want some psychos. Like, I want those guys that if something starts happening on the court, I'm legit like, he might go knock that guy's teeth out, and we might not have him for the rest of the game, next game. Like, that's what I want. And listen, Bobby Portis fits the bill. John Collins fits the bill. Colin Sexton fits the bill. It's like there's a trend among the guys that I like. So, yeah, dude, if we get Bobby Portis, I probably think that you're using assets that should be used elsewhere, but I'll be happy.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, cool. We got Bobby Portis.
At that point, send some seconds, call it a day. Whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter at that point. If they're getting, that means they'd be sitting out Chris Middleton. And then just trying to get off of a little bit of cap so they can bring in a $50 million guy or whatever Bill has a contract for, which is nuts. Then yeah, that's what they're having to come off of him just to get this guy in. So either way, I think it'd be great. I love Bobby Portis. I know you do too. And so I thought when I saw that, that's the first thing I thought it was you. I was like, all right, I gotta mention it to him.
Love Bobby Portis. But listen, all in all, if the Grizzlies come away with like a John Collins or a Cam Johnson, and if you can also swing, like, hey, we go get Robert Williams, we go get a Mitchell Robinson, something like that, that would be, I think, you put yourself on a different tier if you can make it happen. So,
yeah. As Black DJ says, inject Wells, Vince, Portis into my veins, baby. I love it. Any chance? I know Too Cozy 843 says any chance we could get both, such as a John Collins and a Cam?
Oh, I don't think so. Just because of who you're working with.
You could money wise because you have Marcus Smart.
It's feasible.
You would have to have Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart on each side, right? But that would have to be what they want in the pieces on each team. Right. So depending on what each team would want, you have enough to go to get those players because they're not making enough just to be that crazy. Problem is, I don't know if they would. You'd have to send out a lot of picks to get both. And so I don't know if you could do both.
Well, and with both the Nets and the Jazz, you're going to overpay, which is the price of doing business if you're a contender. Right. That's what you do. If you're in the dumps, you get people to overpay with picks and young players so that you can start building. If you're contending, you overpay so you can try and win a championship.
Yeah.
Like that's the price of the rice. So probably not because you can't get swindled by both.
No. And Alan's saying, and I actually disagree with this, these marginal moves aren't winning a championship. But I actually disagree because I don't see this team as currently as they are on this roster. I don't see it being a championship level team. I think they are missing pieces. I don't think it's big pieces either. I really do think I think it's marginal around the edges to really make your team flow a little bit better, such as Edey kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. I think Edey will be great in the playoffs in certain matchups, but not for every matchup. You need guys that actually benefit and make Jaren, Ja, and Bane better players. And so I think going to get somebody that can be the bruiser that you need, that makes smart decisions, maybe somebody that can stretch a little bit, like you're talking about with John Collins. I think players like that are actually what you need because you're not going to get anybody better than your big three. You're not getting anybody better than Bane, Jaren, or Ja. That's just not happening. And so at that point, if those three aren't good enough, no matter what you do, you're not going to get anybody better than those three. So I don't know if any of those. I don't think any move. If you don't believe in those three, then I don't think you believe that they're going to win a championship with any moves they make.
I would say you're only pieces away. You don't need a Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's awesome for sure, but like you don't need a Jimmy Butler. You need the pieces around it, right?
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about this yesterday. You look at like Boston. You have like sort of a quote unquote big three in Boston. Everyone talks about Porzingis being the big move, but really it's Tatum and Brown. Porzingis is a like elite star level type role player for them, but he plays a role for them.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch them, like it is Tatum, Brown, everyone else.
Yep.
I introduced you, Ja, Jaren. I'd say Dez is even like at least on the same plane as Porzingis when it comes to that, what he's trying to do, right? Is a
super role player.
Yeah, exactly. Like a star that is fitting into a specific role the team super needs, right?
Yeah.
You have that with Memphis, and they won a championship with that by building with role players. Like Derek White, when they brought him to Boston, was not some like big check. Like hey, everybody loves Derek White. What a move! Like it's like, okay, they got Derek White from San Antonio. Cool. Yeah. What's that going to do for him? Well, he shoots like 45% from three, so does a lot for him. They got Drew Holiday, who people thought they just got casted aside by Milwaukee, which was stupid by them, by the way. Look what he does. He plays elite defense, and he hits a bunch of big shots for you. He's always been a super solid player, so shame on Milwaukee. Al Horford, like you just have these little pieces, right? And quite frankly, if John Jaren aren't good enough that you can fit that around them, not to mention same time Dez in that vein, you have bigger problems. So I think you were only pieces away.
I agree. We'll end the show on that one. I think we can all disagree. We all can have our different opinions, but I do think that they are pieces away. I don't see it yet, but the emergence of Jaren is flipping my decisions, because if he can play consistently as he's playing, then I think that you're only going to get a better Ja. And I think now that we're seeing Bane kind of fall in line a little bit, get out of that little rut he was in, and now you're getting healthy, and now you're getting a little bit more guys, and now you're starting to win. You're rolling, and winning is consistent, and it's also contagious. And so anyway, a good night, a good win just overall for this team tonight. Just winning a game that really they should win tonight, but they took care of business early, kind of lacked a little bit late, but in the end, they kind of just they held on, and the starters played a little bit more than they needed to. But overall, they got the win. So
come back next time, Lauren. We were a little too sleepy tonight. Trust me, it'll happen again. We need to get our guy Greer back in here. I missed him. I liked one of his.
Is she talking about no arguments between us?
Yeah.
I thought we argued a lot, actually.
Nah, a little bit, but not really. But hey, we need to get Greer back in here. He's family at this point. I liked his tweet that he tagged me in, and I guess he didn't want to come anymore. I don't know. What a tease.
Scaring people away. All right, we'll see you back Friday night. We're going to have the Pelicans. Sorry, I forgot about who we were playing against. The Pelicans coming into Memphis. And so if you're going to go check out the game afterwards, hang with us. We're going to do the full breakdown, Grizz Trivia, and all that kind of stuff like that. But we're also going to pick our reserves and see who we think is deserving to get into the All-Star game, who's actually the best. I don't think Ja can make it because he's not going to get the 65 game mark, or it doesn't have the ability to. So I don't know how that all works out. We'll figure it out. We'll do our best. But that's all we got. Thank you all for joining us. If you're on YouTube, hit the like before you leave. If you're on Twitter, go ahead and like and share that over there. But we'll see you all Friday night. Be nice and tell your friends.